The morning air was brisk, the sky painted in hues of dawn, as Jason, dressed in a plain, unremarkable polo shirt and khakis, walked into the bustling office building. His heart was pounding, excitement mingling with nervousness. Today, he was starting his first day of work at his father's company, but no one here knew that. To them, he was just another entry-level employee. He wanted it this way. For the next few months, he would work in disguise, an anonymous cog in the machine, to understand the inner workings of the company. Jason stepped past the reception desk, the glossy floors gleaming beneath his feet, and headed to the elevator. He had purposefully kept his identity hidden. No one, not even his closest friends, knew he was the heir to the billion-dollar empire. The only thing he wanted now was to prove that he could do the work, earn the respect of his peers, and not rely on his father's wealth and influence. As he entered the elevator, a few employees glanced at him but didn't think much of it. He was just another new hire. Jason's first few weeks were a whirlwind of learning, challenges, and watching people at work. He quickly realized that not everyone was happy to be there. The company's CEO, Mr. Anderson, was a perfectionist who ruled with an iron fist. His tight grip on the company's operations left little room for error, and employees often found themselves walking on eggshells. But it was the mid-level manager, Sarah, who made the biggest impact on Jason. Sarah was efficient, yes, but her attitude towards employees was anything but pleasant. She was dismissive of the junior staff and seemed to go out of her way to belittle them. Jason, still trying to blend in and keep his cover, kept his head down, doing the menial tasks she assigned him without a word of complaint. It wasn't until one particularly stressful afternoon that Jason's patience wore thin. Sarah called him into her office to file some documents. The moment Jason entered, Sarah's cold, piercing gaze locked onto him. "Jason, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you've messed up again. I asked for those reports 2 hours ago. Are you incapable of following simple instructions?" she snapped, her voice dripping with condescension. Jason's chest tightened, but he bit his tongue, resisting the urge to lash out. He nodded quietly and left the office. As he walked back to his desk, he could feel the stares of his coworkers. Whispers followed him like a shadow. The incident, though seemingly small, was the final straw. The next morning, Jason entered the office to a harsh reality. Sarah had escalated the issue, and Jason was summoned to the HR office. His stomach churned as he took the elevator up to the top floor, where the head of HR awaited. When he entered the room, he could see Sarah standing there, her arms crossed, a smug smile on her face. "Jason," the HR manager, Ms. Jensen, began, "it's come to our attention that you've been underperforming. Sarah has reported you multiple times for missing deadlines, not following instructions, and showing poor initiative." She paused, her eyes never leaving his face. "We've decided to let you go. I'm sorry, but we have to move forward without you." Jason was stunned. The words didn't make sense. He had been doing his best to stay under the radar and avoid attention. But now, it seemed like all his efforts had been in vain. He was being fired. The weight of the situation hit him hard. Without a word, he left the office. His heart felt heavy as he walked down the hallway and out of the building, the doors closing behind him with an echo of finality. Weeks passed. Jason spent his time in solitude, reflecting on what had happened. He realized that he had been wrong in trying to hide his identity. The people he had worked alongside, people like Sarah, had no idea what it meant to work hard without being handed everything on a silver platter. They were only focused on their own advancement and were willing to step on anyone to get there. Jason knew what he had to do. The next week, he returned to the office, this time in a sharp, custom-tailored suit, a complete departure from the humble attire he had worn previously. He walked with the confidence of someone who knew exactly what he was doing, the unmistakable aura of a man who had everything under control. He stepped into the building and made his way straight to the CEO's office. The receptionist, who had once greeted him with indifference, now stood in shock as she watched him walk past her. He didn't stop to say hello or explain himself. His destination was clear. Mr. Anderson was sitting at his desk, as always, reviewing reports. He looked up when Jason entered, his eyes narrowing as he recognized the well-dressed man standing before him. Jason didn't offer a greeting. Instead, he walked directly to the desk and sat down without invitation. "Mr. Anderson, I'm Jason Miller," he said, his voice steady and firm. "I'm your boss." Anderson looked at him, taken aback. "What do you mean?" "You're—" Jason leaned forward, his hands on the desk. "I've been working here for the past month under the guise of a regular employee. But I'm not just any employee. I'm the son of the man who owns this company." The words hung in the air, and for a moment, Anderson's shock turned to disbelief. He had no idea who Jason really was. He had fired him, just like that, without realizing the man sitting in front of him was the heir to the empire. Jason knew the game was up. Anderson's eyes widened as the realization hit him. You're the son?" Anderson asked, his voice trembling. "That's right. And I've seen enough," Jason said, standing up from the desk. "I've watched Sarah treat the employees with disdain, belittle them at every turn. She's not fit to lead." He turned to the door and motioned for Anderson to follow him. Together, they walked down the hall to Sarah's office, where Jason had a final meeting with her. Jason looked Sarah dead in the eyes. "You've been dismissed," he said. "You're fired. You have no respect for this company, the employees, or anyone who works here. Your actions have consequences." The look of shock on Sarah's face was priceless. She tried to stammer, but Jason was already done. "Get your things, you're leaving today," he said. Jason didn't stop there. He spent the next few days restructuring the company, ensuring that the values of respect, integrity, and hard work were instilled in every employee. The company culture shifted, and employees started to feel like they were valued, not just numbers on a spreadsheet. Jason had learned a valuable lesson. He didn't need to hide who he was to prove his worth. And now, as the new CEO, he was determined to make the company a place where everyone could thrive, regardless of their title or background.